So I think, should I just start, or were you going to do an introduction?
Well, I'm going to give a
Okay,
little
thank
introduction.
you.
Yeah. So I think we've got, according to my clock, we've got 1 more minute.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, I see. We're waiting for we're live,
we're waiting
but
for the
we're
clock.
waiting for the time.
Yeah. Yeah, we like to get the live stream started a little early because otherwise it doesn't like pop up in people's things if you need a couple minutes advance notice for people to start finding it. Anyway, here we are. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Ratnadhaya. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our guided meditation and Dhamma talk program, regular Tuesday evening program. This week we are continuing with our Dhammadarini's Death Awareness Month programming, and we have a very special guest with us this evening, Ayya Suvijjana Theri, who some of you, if you've been around a little bit longer, you may know her well. Those who are newer to us might not know Ayya Suvijjana. So I'm going to read her bio here, just in introduction. So Ayya Suvijjana, as a laywoman, started meditating in the Soto Zen tradition in 1976 with Kobun Chino Roshi as her teacher. In 1998, she was introduced to Vipassana and the Theravada tradition. She began monastic life training in 2006 at Dhamma Monastery in Northern California. Ayya Suvijjana received full ordination as a bhikkhuni in 2010 with Ayya Theri as her preceptor. Ayya Suvijjana took leave from Dhamma in 2021, returning for periods of time, and traveled, spending blocks of time at monasteries in the USA, Australia, and New Zealand. In May of 2024, with the help of many friends, Ayya Suvijjana and Ayya Nyanika opened a new monastic residence named Pasadhi Vihara in Olympia, Washington. They share teachings online and at other venues in the area, and this is the first phase of the plan to develop a monastic community in the Pacific Northwest. So welcome back to Ayya Suvijjana. She was, when I first started here, she was a fixture in our community at Dhamma and one of my, seniors and early teachers, I think, in this, as she led these programs or co-led programs for many years, especially sharing with Ayya Sopana in the early years that I was here. And she was actually, I think, the founder, the instigator of Death Awareness Month. I don't know how long ago now. When did you start this?
Oh, it seems like we were, I think it was oh, there's an echo.
Okay, hang on, that might be
I better
me.
turn off what do I do? Turn off my,
You turn your mic off. You need your mic on.
what do I
It's
do?
mine.
Okay. So, I think it was probably at least 10 years ago. It may have been when we just moved into the new the monastery when it was brand new. It was somewhere around that time that we started. But I don't remember an exact date. So
All right. Well, anyway, it's become a venerable tradition at this point, and we're carrying it on. And very glad to have Ayya Suvijjana back here as the founder of Death Awareness Month, and to share, whatever reflection she has 10 or so years in, still reflecting on this each year, and interested in what you have to share and what you may have learned over the past few years. So I'm going to, at this point, hand it over to you for our meditation time and our Dhamma talk, and time for questions at the end. So welcome, Ayya. Very good to have you back.
So it's still echoing.
No, now it's done.
Oh, now it's done. Okay. So I'd like to start with the guided meditation with the death contemplation as part of the theme. So if you are uncomfortable with this, you might turn the volume down a little bit and just tune it out. But if you feel at ease, we're going to just start with getting in touch with the body. So get yourself in a position that you can hold. I'm going to adjust my cushion a little bit too. Get yourself in a position that you can comfortably hold for about 35 minutes or so. So the idea is to be alert, have a position, if you're able to be alert, but also at ease. And if you need to have support for your back, or if you have a physical condition where you need to recline, that's fine. But it's just something that supports a sense of alertness so you don't drift off to sleep or the mind doesn't get foggy. So ideally, sitting upright is the best support for this. So just getting in touch with the body, feeling the support of the whatever your body is supported by, the cushion or a chair. Just the weight of the body pressing down on whatever's supporting it. And just bringing the awareness up from that contact with that support, feeling the legs, the feet, the buttocks. Your feet are on the floor. You can feel the soles of the feet pressed against the floor. Just getting a real sense of the body moving upwards. And as you move upwards, just allowing the body to be at ease. If you feel any tension, just invite the tension to drift away, if possible. Moving up over the legs to the hips. You might feel the pressure of the bones against the pelvic bone against the cushion or the chair. Getting a sense of the spine, bringing the awareness upwards. And a sense of the muscles that are also holding up the body, just allowing them to be as easy as they can. There's a certain amount of tension with holding the body upright, but also a sense of letting go too. Allowing the belly to relax. You might feel the body expanding and contracting with the breathing at the belly and lungs. And upwards over to the shoulders, allowing the shoulders to be at ease, the arms and the hands. And back upwards to the shoulders again and the neck. Any little bit of adjustment you need to make so the body is upright in a good balanced position. And upwards over the back of the head. All the way up to the top of the head. And downwards over the forehead. Just allowing the forehead to be at ease. The muscles around the eyes at ease. Just gently reminding the muscles to relax. The eyes should be lightly closed, not squinting. And if you wish to have them open, just very slightly open to let that light in. Not really focusing on anything. Allowing the jaw to relax. The teeth can be lightly touching, not clenched. And at this point, bringing the attention to the in and out breathing. Feeling the flow of the air through the nasal passages. Or you might bring the attention to the expanding and contracting of the chest, or the rise and fall of the abdomen. Just allowing for the natural rhythm of breathing. The breath connecting us with the present moment. This precious opportunity, this precious life. But according to the Buddhist teaching, each breath, each exhalation could be our last. Each inhalation could be our last. So with each exhalation, just develop a sense of release, letting go, but also aware this is our precious opportunity as we breathing in, as we're breathing in, and releasing as we're letting go. Exhaling, letting go of our attachments. Letting go of all of our possessions. Knowing that we will be parted from everyone and everything that is dear to us. Also letting go of our responsibilities. Letting go of all the burdens, all the concerns. Hopefully gaining a sense of release. And the final letting go will be of letting go of the body, this physical form, composed of mere elements that just lasts for a while. Letting go of thoughts, perceptions. Just letting it all go. And being at ease. Laying down the burdens. And continue. Just sense of release and letting go. You feel any tension, just be aware of it and allow it to fade. And continue in silence for a while. Just exploring the sense of release and letting go with each exhalation. For the last few minutes of this meditation, bringing the awareness back to the body, feeling the contact of the air against the skin, the weight of the body against what's supporting it. And of course, the in and out breathing again. A real sense of being in the present moment. You can bring your hands together if you choose. Conditioned things are impermanent. Their nature is to rise and fall. Having arisen, they cease. Their ceasing is such bliss. The stilling is such bliss. This is something that's chanted in memorial services. And we can think of it for all conditions, always arising and ceasing continuously. We do think about when someone has passed away, that they will no longer be in our lives. We'll never see them again once the body is gone. And so we're aware by inference of our own mortality, that everyone must pass away at some time. So this is one of the reasons the Buddha went forth and his noble search. So I'll be speaking about that. And actually, I'd like to take refuge before I start speaking, starting the actual talk. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. So I'm grateful for the Buddha's teaching. And as I was just starting to say that, the Buddha had this sense of urgency for the Siddhartha before he was a Buddha. It's said that he there are various stories, but when you look at the suttas, you see that he was compelled by the fact that all beings are subject to sickness, aging, and death, and that everyone is, having been born, will pass away. And this was what started him on his noble search when he was a bodhisattva intent on awakening. He was compelled when he could no longer ignore the fact that this truth and that everybody he loved, including himself, would die sometime. So he went forth and he met with various teachers, and he wasn't finding the answer anywhere to this dilemma of sickness, aging, and death. So it took some time. It took him 6 years before he realized for himself the middle way. And his teaching is now, because of that sense of urgency he had to understand, to come to understanding actually what he is later called the deathless, to realize nibbana, to be free from sickness, aging, and death finally. And this is the promise of the Buddhist teaching. So this is I think many people come to the path just with this sense of urgency, a sense of wanting to know, to understand. So I put together some teachings on contemplating death and how that can be helpful in our practice to further us on the path. And I'm going to read from some extracts of some suttas and summarize a little bit and speak a little bit about a few suttas that specifically speak about death contemplation. So I have the extract of the Buddha what before his awakening and what he was how he was thinking about this. This is in Majjhima Nikaya 26. It's the Pasarasi Sutta, and it's just a very brief extract. He says, suppose that being myself subject to aging, sickness and death, sorrow and defilement, having understood the danger in what is subject to aging, sickness, death, sorrow, and defilement, I seek the unaging, the unailing, deathless, sorrowless, and undefiled supreme security from bondage, nibbana. So we went forth to seek nibbana. And of course, we know that he did, after 6 years, discover for himself a path, which is the Noble Eightfold Path, and all the teachings he's laid out for us. So I have another sutta that I'm going to talk about here. It's in the numerical discourses, in the sixes at number 19. And the Blessed One said, mindfulness of death, when developed and pursued, is of great fruit and great benefit. It gains a footing in the deathless, has the deathless as its final end. Therefore, you should develop mindfulness of death. So as I was saying, that this is an epithet for Nibbana, the deathless. And so the Buddha is speaking to a group of monks, but he can be speaking to us too. So then he asks the monks, and how do you develop mindfulness of death? So this is a pop quiz to the monks. And then the first monk says, I think, that I might live for a day and night, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instruction. I would have accomplished a great deal. that is how I develop mindfulness of death. So then the next one says, I think, oh, that I might live for a day. And the next one says that I might live for an interval, the interval it takes to eat a meal. It gets shorter, shorter. That I might live for the interval it takes to swallow, having chewed up 4 mouthfuls of food. And then the next one says that I might live for the interval it takes to swallow, having chewed up 1 morsel of food. And another one says, that I live long enough to inhale, the time it takes to inhale or to exhale. So I was having that guided meditation of just thinking that this may be our last breath. We never know. So then the Buddha responds to these monks who just in turn said how long they should be contemplating this. And he says, the one who says that I might live a day and a night, or for a day, or to long enough to eat a meal, or swallow having chewed up 4 mouthfuls of food, they are said to dwell heedlessly. They develop mindfulness of death slowly for the sake of ending the affluence. But whoever develops mindfulness of death, thinking, oh, that I might live for the interval it takes to swallow, having chewed up 1 morsel of food, for the interval it takes to breathe out after breathing in, or to breathe in after breathing out, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions, I would have accomplished a great deal. They are said to dwell heedfully. They develop mindfulness of death acutely for the sake of ending the affluence. So the idea here, I think, is that we should just be aware that we could die at any moment, and that this is a precious opportunity for us to practice. And so any exhalation, or people die choking on on food. So death can happen at any time. It can happen suddenly without our expecting it to happen. And so we should practice heedfully. We should, each moment being our precious opportunity to develop on the path, to be aware of what's arising in our minds, to be willing to let go, to be willing to develop wholesome qualities. So the monks were saying that they would focus on the Buddha's instruction and could achieve a lot. So we can achieve a lot every moment of our lives. We think, oh, at the end of the day, when I go to my cushion, that's when I practice. Or when I get to the meditation hall, or if you go to someplace or online, when I listen to the Dhamma evening program, that's going to be my practice time. But the Buddha is saying, no, every moment, every breath, this is our time for practice. This is how I'm understanding this. And just because of that sense of urgency that any moment, we don't know, any moment we could pass away. And another sutta that's also titled Mindfulness of Breath, and it's the one directly after the one I just read. This is AN 6.20. It's in the numerical discourses. And in the sutta, the Buddha tells us to reflect, I may die on account of many causes. So this is another, like, just getting the sense of our mortality. And he says things like, well, you could die of a scorpion bite, or a poisonous snake, or falling off a cliff or something like that. So the monks were in a forest, living out in the wilds, in the forest, and so they had all these dangers. But even for us, living in a pretty protected environment, I mean, could die in an auto accident, and the body is kind of I can't think of it as it's kind of set to self-destruct at some point. So many people die of sudden heart attacks. I'm not trying to be gruesome or scary or something like that. This is just reality. I was a nurse, so I know it's just like the death can just happen so quickly and unexpectedly, even with people that seemingly were very healthy. Uh, so, and this is just to bring up a sense of, this is our opportunity now. I think this is the healthy way, not to cause unnecessary anxiety for ourselves, or like, oh no, but this is our opportunity to practice. So we're not living in the forest, but as I was saying, that we can die of many causes anyway, even though we're really protecting ourselves in so many ways. It's still fire, many things happen. I've just heard that, we all have heard, just in the news and just the people we know, things happen. So hopefully we'll die peacefully, and we'll have a little bit of lead time into that, but it's not necessarily true. So, and hopefully we'll all live to a ripe old age, but the older we get, the closer death is seeming to us. I know I don't have a lot of time left, and I've outlived my mother and my grandmother. I'm probably about the age my grandmother died. But the older we get, the more likely we are to die suddenly and unexpectedly. So this is to overcome our sense of denial, but to put it to good use, not to cause anxiety, as I was saying. So, and not just to assume that we're going to have sometime in the future, I'm going to really apply myself to the practice. We don't know if we will have that. So what the Buddha says in this particular sutta is that he instructs us to review at the end of the day, and we should reflect, are there unwholesome qualities? Do we have any unwholesome qualities in us? Or throughout the day? I think throughout the day is really a good thing if we're seeing greed, hate, or delusion arising in our hearts. If we just to be really aware of our minds, and then, but at the end of the day, particularly thinking back over a day and how it was, and was I grumpy, and did I speak kindly, or did I speak cruelly? Just to kind of really do a little bit of assessment at the end of the day, and just try to make an effort to abandon those unwholesome qualities in ourselves. And then if also recognize if there are the wholesome qualities develops. And it said we should rejoice in that, and we should abide peacefully if we can see that our hearts, our minds are pure, especially at the end of the day, if we can come to a really quietude of mind and beauty of mind, free from unwholesome qualities. And then he also says to at the beginning of the day too, that we should check when we wake up in the morning and just like, how is my mood? How am I doing this morning? Am I waking up on the wrong side of the bed? Or I'm just really grateful to be alive and to apply myself to the teachings. So I'm just really kind of summarizing. So we should reflect here. The sutta is saying we should reflect. Are there any unwholesome qualities that may be an obstruction to me? And then having a sense of urgency to abandon them. And he says it's like it's likened to as if one's hair or turban is on fire, and you'd put that kind of effort to put the fire out, as that you would put the unwholesome qualities out to extinguish them. So this is a kind of a summary of that particular sutta. So developing the wholesome and abandoning the unwholesome, and having that sense of urgency to do that, because as I was saying, that none of us know how long we'll be living. So to apply ourselves really not stressfully, but a kind of earnestly. Maybe that's a good word. I know, I think Ayya China spoke about this particular sutta, and this is in the Anguttara Nikaya also, and it's in the fives, and it's sometimes called Five Subjects for Frequent Recollection, but it's in the Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, he's calling it themes. And there's I'm just going to kind of paraphrase it a little bit, and I've got an extract here too that I'll read from. But it talks about how the living are intoxicated with life. So this intoxication is thinking that, oh, that I'll live forever. And then how the young are intoxicated with youth. And I don't know how many people here are still young, but I remember when I was a teenager, I guess I had some idea that I would grow old, but there's this intoxication with it. When you're young, uh, you kind of want to deny that you're actually going to get old sometime. And then around 40, you go, oh, actually, I am starting to get old. I'm starting to age. But we want to be in denial of that. This is what this intoxication is. And then those who are healthier and intoxicated with health. And then in this particular teaching, the Buddha says that people become negligent with this kind of intoxication. And as a result of that, they break the precepts. They're not keeping the precepts well. So I think the implication is that we should realize that, and also that the consequences of breaking these precepts, and the karma is also in this sutta. So this is an extract that I've edited. I'm just going to read it. It says, Bhikkhus, there are 5 themes that should be often reflected upon by a woman or a man, by a householder, or one who has gone forth, by anyone. This is for anyone of any gender. And And what five? And the first one is, I'm subject to age. I am not exempt from old age. I am subject to illness. I am not exempt from illness. I am subject to death. I am not exempt from death. I must be parted and separated from everyone and everything dear and agreeable to me. And then the last one is, I am the owner of my karma, of my karma. I have karma as my origin, karma as my relative, karma as my resort. I will be heir of whatever karma, good or bad, that I do. A woman, a man, anyone, a whole householder, or one gone forth should often reflect like this. So this is where the our sila, our conduct, our keeping our precepts comes in, that we should reflect on the consequences of our actions and not be like careless because of our health or youth. That youth is often you think we're immortal and often think that we're not subject to things like karma. Karma is our actions, and karma is there's also the consequences of our actions, is what the sutta is also speaking about, for good or for ill, or good or bad. So not only in this life, the Buddhist teaching talks about not only in this life, but in future lives, that we're heir to our karma. And this is how it ties into the contemplation of death and not knowing when we'll die and where we'll end up in a rebirth. So whether or not you believe in rebirth, there's still consequences of our actions in this life. So this sutta talks about the nature of the body and coming to peace with that nature. That sickness, aging, and death are part of life. It's inevitable. And having been born, our nature is to be sick at times, to age, to die. And also we will be separated from what is dear and delightful, dear and appealing to us. And the only thing we take with us when we die is our karma, according to the Buddha. So in the same sutta, it says, a noble disciple reflects thus, I am not the only one who is subject to death, not exempt from death. All beings that come and go, that pass away, that undergo rebirth, are subject to death. None are exempt from death. And they often reflect on this theme. The path is generated as they reflect on this theme. The path is generated, and they pursue the path, develop it, cultivate it. As they do so, the fetters are entirely abandoned and the underlying tendencies are uprooted. So this is our motivation for practice. So reflecting on sickness, aging, and death like this, and karma, and the fact that we'll be parted from all that is dear to us, is then one is motivated to cultivate the path. And this is facing reality directly. We reflect on impermanence. Impermanence is a big word in the Buddhist teaching, as it comes up often. So it's a motivating force. So it motivates us to practice, and it also leads to to being at peace, if we're really if we're no longer in denial with reality. We're living in accordance with reality. We can be content and at peace. So how are we doing on time here? Should I keep going? I can keep going.
A few more minutes if you'd like it, or also could open it up for discussion whenever you like.
Okay. So I wanted just to touch just really lightly on the charnel ground. They're the 9 charnel ground meditations. So I'm giving you kind of a overview of the Buddhist teaching on deaths, but this is for overcoming the fear of death if we do these kind of visualizations. And it's to become more at ease with the idea of the impermanence of this body and to go beyond denial and fear. So just contemplating or visualizing the corpse in 9 stages of decay, just really to understand the nature of the body. And I wanted to mention that I'm going to arrange to have my body composted. There's a form of green burial where the body can be composted after death, and then it becomes soil that can just be put on the forest floor of some reserve, or that could be put in the survivors of the loved ones who survived the other person. Well, this body can be in a garden or on the forest floor or something like that after composting. So it actually helped me to start really doing this contemplation, because somehow cremation, I was like, it was harder for me to get that sense of that. But just the fact of the body going back to the elements, and it's just feeling at ease, really, to be more at ease with that, this whole cycle of life. So in the instructions, it says the bhikkhu or anyone compares this same body, one's own body, with it thus: this body too is of the same nature. It will be like that. It is not exempt from that fate. So just if you feel comfortable with it, it's really good practice, and it's in the Satipatthana, the 4 foundations of mindfulness and mindfulness of the body. It's the last meditation or practice. So to allow some time, there's I'm going to just read very briefly from a sutta that King Pasenadi, it's in the Samyutta Nikaya and the Kosala Samyutta, and the Buddha has kind of quizzing King Pasenadi, and there's the story of the mountains coming in, a simile of the mountains coming in from all directions and crushing everything in its path. And the Buddha says, well, what would you do if you heard that this was going to happen? And he said, if, Lord, such a great peril should arise, such a terrible destruction of human life, the human state being so hard to obtain, what else should be done but to live by the Dhamma, to live by right conduct, to do wholesome deeds and meritorious deeds? And then the Buddha says, I inform you, great king, I announce to you, great king, aging and death are rolling in on you. When aging and death are rolling in on you, great king, what should be done? As aging and death are rolling in on me, Lord, what else should be done but to live by the Dhamma, to live by right conduct, to do wholesome deeds and meritorious deeds. So this is what we can do. This is it's wonderful that King Pasenadi had understood this. So I just want to read a very brief, this is the Buddha's last words. Now I address you, bhikkhus. All conditioned things are subject to disintegration. Strive to attain the goal with diligence. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 anumodama.
That was my sutta collage.
Yes, thank you very much, Ayya.
Little overview of death contemplation. So we can open it up for questions and comments.
Mhm. Yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations on the human composting. That's something that's not legal in California yet, but
I thought it was.
I think not yet. Well, maybe I missed it, but I think it's legal in Washington State, but not California. I don't know.
No, I saw there's a map. The
Oh,
company that I haven't arranged it yet, but there's a company, it's Earth Funeral, and I think they have a facility in California, and there's
oh,
a map that shows the western states rule. They're
okay.
they
All
have,
right. Well, great. Well, we'll have to look into that. I thought it was not legal yet, and so I was going to say, oh, maybe that's why all the bhikkhunis are moving to Washington State these
it's,
days.
well, you can have your body shipped. No, but there's a map that shows where human composting is legal.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I'll check that out. Anyway, yes, thank you for bringing in the charnel ground contemplations in that way. It's something that can be quite scary for people, but I think useful also, and I'm glad you brought it up among all those other suttas. Anyway, let's invite who else might like to join our conversation. Um, anyone has any questions or comments for Ayya Suvijjana? Yes, Daniel.
Thanks for the talk. I really appreciate it. I think for me, I have a friend who has terminal cancer and probably won't live too much longer, and is in his 20s, and it's this rare kind of genetic condition. And I invoke his experience a lot, in my contemplation of death, and I think of, on one hand, there's this sort of tremendous empathy for what he's going through, but also realization that actually we all have terminal cancer. We're all terminal, and it will eventually kill us, the human condition, and also the contemplation that actually, for all I know, maybe he should have compassion for me. Maybe he will outlive me, because tomorrow on my way to class or something like that, a car hits me. Who knows? And so I think that immediacy of kind of his experience and what's happening has been really helpful to realize that and to contemplate and remember the, significance of this life and the sort of inevitability of its ending. So I just wanted to share that with the group.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, that's important to consider. I mean, to just assume just because I know I've known situations where somebody had terminal cancer and the grandchild died before the grandpa with the terminal cancer. So yeah, it's so uncertain. It's certain that we'll pass away, but it's uncertain when that will happen. So I do have empathy. That's yeah, yeah, quite young for cancer, but that happens. So, um, yeah, this isn't meant to be a gloomy subject, but yes, Richard, please.
Thank you, Ayya. The part of the sutta that you quoted about the Buddha heading off on his journey, if you think about it, those five contemplations, the first four are basically what he's saying. Everything is subject to old age, disease, and death, right? And why should I, who am also subject to that, right? Seek out those things because we're going to be separated from all that we hold dear, So it kind of follows those first four. But that fifth one, this is an insight that came to me listening to your talk. When Buddha first went out and was doing the austerities and everything, he was basically following the Niganta path. Now, some people misunderstand. Mahavir was not the only Niganta. This was kind of like a tradition among different people, but Mahavir was a part of the Jain group, which was a religion that existed for some period of time before he was born. But he just became the new Titankara of the Jain group. And the Nigantas had a philosophy that if you did enough self-torture, you were eradicating your bad karma. And if you notice, that fifth one is by realizing that you're the heir and everything of your own karma. But in Buddhist terms, he says it is chaitana, right? Volition that I call karma, not some storehouse or anything. It's like the nature of your mind is producing this action to keep you involved in samsara. So initially he had the wrong direction. He was following the Niganta path, but then when he got to the final end of that, torturing himself as much as possible till he almost died, and he said, I haven't attained anything out of this. He said, no higher distinction or higher knowledge, or of any kind. So he said, this can't be the way. So that's when he saw through that use of karma and realized that it's his own volition. And he started going in a different way. Jhana, he remembered doing jhana, and he thought, this pleasure of the jhana is not a worldly sensual pleasure. So maybe that's the correct way to go in that. He didn't know the end of it or anything, but he thought, maybe that's the actual correct way to go. And he would have known indirectly that there were meditator groups who were doing various types of meditation jhanas, not just torturing the body and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm just saying that distinction of the use of karma is this idea that you can torture yourself to eradicate old karma. That was a different way of approaching it. And then the Buddha started going in this other way where he saw that, no, my own mind is impelling me on, to do these various things because of avidya, ignorance, or like I prefer to say, incomplete knowledge. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think the mind, like the Buddha was saying, reflecting at the end of the day and seeing if there's unwholesome mental states, but he also said to rejoice and in the wholesome states, and that would include developing the more refined states of the jhanas. So yeah, thank you. It's a really good point. And then that volition, yeah, is a key element in our karma. And it's not yeah, so it's our action, but also our intention, which is important in our karma. So whether we have unwholesome or unskillful intentions or skillful intentions. So that kind of in that all the snippets that I was giving, that's included in that. But thank you for developing that a little bit more as far as how the Buddha was compelled in his search and what he was discovering. So Ayya China, do you have anything you'd like to add or a question or
I guess I do have a question actually, which is You as the founder of Death Awareness Month, what inspired you to think we need a month to talk about this every year? What's the story behind that?
I think because I mean, we should be doing it all year round, but I just thought to dedicate a month to it at least was good. And I think it was because of Dia de Muertos and just this time of year. I mean, the days are getting shorter, and there's like it just seems like there's this shift around here I mean, around this time of year with the leaves are falling. There's like kind of a sense of, you know, the darkness is really descending on us. And so this is why a lot of cultures have around this time of year uh, something to do with this, really trying to understand death or trying to do some ritual in regard to the deceased, or something like that. So, but it's mostly that it's such an important part of the Buddhist teaching, and what compels a lot of people to practice is just trying to understand, well, the nature of life, which includes sickness, aging, and death. But yeah, and it's just I remember when I was a lot younger, and there was like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and different people just trying to make the speaking about death no longer like a taboo or something that we avoid, that we so just to give an occasion. And there's also in the calendar, there's like Women's History Month or Black History Month or something like that. So I thought, oh, well, how about Death Awareness Month? That would it would be something, some way to focus for a month.
Thank you. I guess my follow-up question is there anything you've learned in the past 10 years of doing this that you didn't know before, any from reflecting yourself over this time period?
I don't know. I mean, it's I guess it's funny too, but with the human composting, I did start to think about because the charnel ground contemplation, it's very unrealistic, and if you think that your body's going to be embalmed or if you're going to be cremated, you can't really, I mean, somehow I didn't, I mean, it would just be kind of imagination, it would just be uh so it was harder for me to relate to that particular uh practice. And now that I'm thinking that that the body will be composted, then it's really more in line with that practice. It just happens. It's happened in a more sanitary and more rapid. The conditions are so I forget how many. It's like a matter of weeks or something like uh I don't remember. It's just an astonishingly short period of time that the body will uh decompose in those conditions. So, but at least I know it's returning to the earth too. So the working with the four element contemplation is also helpful, has with the contemplating the impermanence of the body, and that the constant flux of this body being like we're constantly trying to sustain this body through taking in food and fluids and things like that, and then so the four contemplating the four elements and just seeing that constant flux of elements too ties into the death contemplation. But this is, all this is just kind of building on itself from when I first started looking into it, like a lot of the same material I'm using for the talk. I mean, this, but yeah, I guess I've a little bit more understanding of the suttas, like especially that one when he's talking about the different lengths of time and being heedless. If you think it'll be a day and a night, what he's really telling us is we have to be aware that every single breath could be our last breath. We have to be aware that every single mouthful of food could be our last mouthful of food, and not to be fearful because of that, but to think, oh, this is my opportunity. This is a real opportunity to practice. So to really get the sense of that, that that develops over time too. So I don't know if that's really answering your question. I think it just keeps building and building. I'm get deeper and deeper into the suttas, understanding the suttas get deeper as time goes on, and just the undeniable, it's so undeniable,
Yeah.
that is so inevitable, this impermanence of the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a way, it's not news. We all know we're going to die, but at the same time, for it to really sink in, can take a lot of effort. So, yeah, I really appreciate Death Awareness Month, and have it just some set aside period to contemplate this each year for us, and just let it sink in, with the hopes that we're ready when it comes. And just be ready with that. So
Yeah, and then just the sense, also the sense of release, like when you're contemplating all that you have to leave behind. And I don't know if that was understandable in the guided meditation, but if we're thinking that we're just have to let go of everything, we can let go of it now. Psychologically, we can, when we're on the cushion, we can just let it and all our concerns down just for that period of time even. And this is a real preparation for, I mean, we will be parted from everything that we love, everything that's dear, and this body, the five khandhas, everything is gonna disperse. So if we're contemplating that as we're sitting too, I mean, it's a wonderful, can be a sense of release and ease.
yeah. Well, I mean, we are coming towards the end of our time. Are there any last questions or comments before we go to our closing? Oh, yes, one more. Kay, please.
If I may just quickly, and if it takes too long, you can just push it till next time. But with so much to contemplate, how do you prioritize which kind of subject to work with? Like, I'm pretending that this is my last breath. What should I contemplate the most? Is it the 9 charnel grounds? Is it the 32 parts? Is it the metta? What is it that's going to get me there? How do you prioritize there's only so many hours in a day?
Yeah, I think for each individual, I mean, like if the metta bhavana is really alive and you to contemplate a wholesome quality like metta, it's if that's really alive for you, then you can fully devote yourself to that for each moment, and then so each moment we have like throughout the, I mean, like, how do I say it? Because when we're doing whatever we're doing, do it fully, do it completely. And so, and if the metta, like I was saying, is alive for you, then really go for it. And then if it seems like the charnel ground contemplations of it, if that seems like really resonating well for you, and it gives you a really sense of release, and it's helping with the insight practice. This is a insight into impermanence and non-self, and then the source of dukkha, of clinging to oneself. We see that it should culminate in that this so what I think, if we're always, the idea is to always be, each moment throughout our entire day, if we can be aware, bringing awareness to what's arising in our hearts, and abandoning what's unwholesome and bringing up the wholesome, then we're doing the Buddhist teaching. And then when we have the time to do these deeper contemplations, or the bhavana, like the metta bhavana, then we can give ourselves wholeheartedly to it. So I think it's up to each individual and what really resonates well.
Thank you. I spend a lot of time in Anapanasati feeling a bit guilty that I should be doing, death contemplations or something, but the Anapanasati just feels like it's really taking me somewhere that's beneficial. And I'll get to the contemplations about death when they need to be tended to, I suppose.
I think also, if you're doing the Anapanasati well, then if death comes during that time, then you're practicing well, the Buddhist teaching well.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, take care.
Well, I want to say thank you very much, Ayya Suvijjana, for being with us this evening, and thank you very much for having established this month for all of us to consider this again and again. I've found it valuable in past years and again this year, and with gratitude for that, and of course for the Buddha's original teachings along the same lines, that we need to be remembering this at every moment, with every breath. So, Namodana, very glad to have you with us. And I think we could close by paying our respects to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha.
I'll pay respects to our altar here.
Okay, yes. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Suwakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namastami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. And we'd also like to pay our respects to our teacher and Senior Ayya Suvijjana. We can bow together 3 times.
Sadhu. Sabe Buddha Balapata Chikanancha Yambalam Arahantanancha Te Jena Rakambanda Sadhu. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ayya.
Thank you, Ayya.
You're very welcome.
All right. Good night, everyone.